And welcome to episode 2 of the You Made Me Inc. podcast, a Disney Lorcana podcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Ashley.
And we're catching up. Hey, Ash, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Long time no see.
I know, it's been a while.
It has. How are things?
Just chilling.
That's good. How are the kids?
They're great.
That's good. I should know that because we are a husband and wife duo. We're not just two strangers out on the street here.
I was wondering where you're going with that. I was like, you should know, man.
We have been on a little bit of I wouldn't call it a hiatus, but I think it's really tough to put, a weekly content together with what has been trickling out. And, I think up until we get closer to release, I like this, letting the information kind of marinate a little bit and then, expel it out and have a lot to talk about. We do have a lot of catching up and some housekeeping. So I guess on my end, so
we may vote on minutes right now. What are we? What are we doing?
Let's review the minutes of the last meeting. Do we approve them? So you may have noticed for our listeners out there, I have Off the Rails TCG, the YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. I have 2 podcasts on that YouTube channel. What I tried to do was keep them separate on the audio platform. Mm-hmm. So I had Off the Rails TCG, where you could find the Disney Lorcana podcast, and then I had essentially my own personal Spotify account for the Flesh and Blood podcast. It wasn't working. And it was getting really, really confusing and trying to figure that out. And I don't know what my motivation was to separate them that hard to begin with. Know.
Sometimes I don't understand your motivation for a lot of things.
But I did, I have condensed them and put them all under the Off the Rails TCG label. So if you are a subscriber or listener to us, you may be getting some extra content here and there on the Flesh and Blood side, but so Off the Rails TCG is going to be your one-stop shop for all your TCG content needs. Flesh and Blood and Lorcana, one place, both on YouTube and on the audio.
Wow.
I've also figured out that we have some fun acronyms for these podcasts. I do the Action Point, which is Flesh and Blood, or TAP, which is fun in its own right. But the You Made Me Inc. podcast is YMMI, or Yummy, as I like to say it when I see it written out like that. So it's the Yummy podcast. We are very yummy. Very yummy. We're so yummy.
All right, and now you're done.
All right. So today is going to be a bit of a refresher course on what we know so far. We've learned a lot over the last few weeks, but we still have a lot of questions left unanswered. We're going to talk cards, mechanics, and I think we'll talk a little bit about price, because we do have a price point now. We have MSRP, potential allocations, and what it means to pre-order a TCG, something I got a little experience on. And then we'll see where we're at for time after that. But I guess first things first is
I'm the realist.
Yes, you are. You're so the realist. What would you like to tackle? What would you like to tackle first?
I mean, do we want to do like a recap of what Lorcana is, or are we going to assume that people know?
I think people, So let's talk about that. We know what Lorcana is to a point, but what they haven't told us yet, and the longer it drags out, the more I think people are a little, the red flags start popping up a little bit. But we don't know how this game is played.
Okay, but I don't know if we can go the red flag route already when they've told us that it's coming in spring 2023, and the first day of spring was like a week ago.
That is one way to look at it.
It is, Mr. Impatient.
But they have, they've released a lot of information, but I think to not have how to play. I'm good with it right now.
Don't we know how to play? Like,
do we?
I think we do.
Do we really?
I think we have a general concept of how to play these games.
I think in the grand scheme of putting cards down and eventually doing things, yeah, I think we might be able to
That's
piece it
exactly what's
together.
going to happen.
Yeah.
See, we
I'm
know
sure.
exactly how to play.
I'm sure.
Put the
I'm
cards
sure.
down. Cards
You know,
do
I'll say, I think
nailed it.
I think that's part of it is that it's probably established enough where they haven't, like, they just don't care to really announce something. It's not
right.
It's not going to be groundbreaking is what we're getting at.
And I feel like everyone anticipating it is the reason that there's still movies out there that I've refused to see.
I'll tell you what drives
the
that.
build-up was too much.
Like what?
Napoleon Dynamite.
What?
I know. I'm so sorry.
You never seen Napoleon Dynamite?
No.
It's not even a great movie for me, but
I know.
I've seen it.
Right. And I have
times.
not, because I know that the hype is not worth
Oh man.
the watch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see like the dance TikToks, you have no idea what's happening.
No, I know what's happening because I have context. I know that what
Okay.
it's from.
All right. Okay. I believe you.
Anyways, back to Lorcana.
I'm gonna jump back around a little bit, but I've kind of been on a little tour de force. I've got some influence in the fab community. But I was recently on a few podcasts talking about the channel and things, and I went on to the Fresh and Buds podcast with my friend Tommy Fresh, which is a good Flesh and Blood podcast. But we were able to talk the channel and what I wanted to do with it. It was also on the Big Boss Book Club, which is a UK-based podcast that covers TCGs and wrestling.
Ooh,
right up my alley.
What?
But on my episode of the Big Boss Book Club, Tom is a big fan and has listened and is a big fan of you as well.
As people generally are.
And when we were talking about Disney Lorcana, and he made it very clear that I was wrong in Ravensburger.
Ah, good. I love this. Yes. I'm here for this content.
He said that he could not wait to tell me when we came on that how wrong I was and how right you were.
That's very exciting for me.
So I needed to hear it from a man.
Yes, I know.
No,
you did.
I'm just no, I'm not.
No, he's not.
I got that. So as I said in the first episode, I only got it, and it might have been edited out, but we pulled up a YouTube video and someone said Ravensburger.
I don't know. We got to talk to the person that does the editing then, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that happened. So it wasn't.
Let's fire that guy.
It wasn't. But
he's doing a crappy job.
Apparently Ravensburger.
Yeah, Ravensburger
runs a lot of ads in the UK, and it's an everyday occurrence over there. So
yeah.
Ravensburger. Lorcana, Ravensburger.
So I was just right about all of it.
You were.
Yes.
You were. You were right, dear.
I love
you. You were right. I'm sorry. You were right.
Don't edit this part out. I like it. I like it.
But yeah, so I was able to jump on a couple podcasts, and that was fun. But I thought you might enjoy that little tidbit there.
No, I did enjoy that.
All right, let's talk Lorcana. So I think one of the big things that was announced in the last, I think as well as MSRP, was that there's already a second set.
Yes.
Announced. It's coming in November.
Yes.
Which is exciting, scary at the same time, because like I said, there's still a lot of unknowns. But now we're like it's going to pile on very quickly here.
It seems like they know.
They should. If you're a TCG developer, you're usually like a couple years ahead, at least in development.
Yeah.
I think it's something like 13 months is probably the cycle from inception to printing.
Yeah.
I think I'm not ready to not ready for the second set yet. Still need to.
Well, you know what the good news is?
What's that?
The first set comes first.
It does. It
Yes.
does. I'm so glad.
So you don't have to be ready for the second set.
Excellent.
That's good.
That's a load off my shoulders.
I know. I could see the tension just fall right off.
I feel like a new man.
Yeah. So don't you worry about that.
So, oh, Jesus. Okay. You know,
I'm gonna get kicked off my own podcast.
I wish there was.
If you want all of them, I think you have to look in different places. That's what I've had to do.
Let's do that. Let's talk MSRP.
Okay.
And kind of what that means. I think it's probably a good place to go. All right. So they did finally release the price point for the cards. And I think a lot of people were waiting for that.
Yeah.
And it really is a kind of a telling factor for two things. So MSRP set for the US dollar starter decks. There's going to be 3, right? Lorcana first chapter. Mm-hmm. There's Amber and Amethyst, Sapphire and Steel, and Emerald and Ruby. I'm not sure if they're going to have names, but those will be $16.99 a piece. That seems reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The first chapter booster packs, the individual booster packs, are going to be $5.99 a piece. That is a little high on the pack side for me, but not extraordinarily high. The first chapter gift set is going to be $29.99, and that's the one that includes Hades, King of Olympus, and Mulan, Imperial Soldier,
Yes.
and those are going to be unique cards, I believe, for the gift set. And finally, the first chapter, Illumineer's Trove, is $49.99. And I do think, and the Disney Lorcana first chapter booster display is going to be $143.76.
Ooh, okay.
So let's talk what that all means, and what that means for when you're ordering the cards. MSRP is something that you have to pay attention to when you are buying these cards. It's never a great idea. So like, if you go on right now to an online store like TCG Player, they still have storefronts listing Disney Lorcana booster boxes, and they're already up to like $200, and that's only going to creep up even further.
Right.
So I think my number one piece of advice to anyone who's going to buy into this game is to don't buy it for more than MSRP.
Mm-hmm.
If you're buying from your local LGS to support them, they're probably going to have like a slight markup to make up like a profit margin off of that, and that's fine. But when you see like price gouging, that's something you don't have to buy into that kind of thing. One, there should be enough product printed that it shouldn't be an issue in the first place. Number two, the big box stores are still going to hold these, right? And I think that's going to be the leverage over everything else, is that you're going to be able to walk into Target and get packs for MSRP. So buying a booster box for twice retail just to be first isn't I don't think the juice is going to be worth the squeeze there.
Right.
So I guess all that is said is as we're getting closer, I've been calling my LGSs around town, seeing who's going to pick what up. I think all of them that I've talked to said they're planning on picking that up. But no one's gotten their allocations yet.
Yeah.
So some stores, especially on the online front, can be a little predatory when it comes to pre-orders. The distributors have to have the stock.
Right.
Right. If an LGS, what I haven't heard is that distributors have it and they're shipping out to LGSs and holding on to it, which means an LGS or any store taking pre-orders is taking it off assumptions only.
Right.
And I definitely wouldn't be doing that right now. Because, one, you could get ripped off.
Yeah.
Or what could be worse to some people is that they may over pre-order
Right.
and refund you, or other nefarious things.
Yes.
Because you won't get your cards. And if
Right.
if you're relying on just a store that you've never heard of on the internet without doing any research, that it can bite you in the ass. So,
word to the wise.
Yeah, word to the wise. The fervor is rising.
Yeah.
The hype is rising, and the prices in the secondary market are rising. Stores will literally watch this happen, and it happens more often these days than not because we're in a very fast age of information, where if the demand is there, the quicker they can jack up that price, the better, because you cannot hold on to these cards long enough, as long as people are taking them. And there are people that are observing those trends, and as the trends go up, it's like gas stations, right? They're just constantly setting those numbers up there. But it's a dangerous game to play in, and you don't really have to.
How did we just get to gas prices? That was
gas station prices. I got jacking up each other.
There. Yeah.
This isn't on the rails, TCG.
I know. I'm aware of that. I'm aware. Do I get to talk now? Or is this just you and I'm just here to go?
Sorry. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah, you just needed to. It's all right. I'm here to listen.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too. You haven't listened to my podcasts before.
No, because I listen to you every day of my life.
Debatable.
Well, yeah, sometimes I go other places. Like, I just found a whole bunch of cards on Twitter, and...
So, I wanted to say that about price and allocation and just being wary of pre-ordering. I'm sorry I did not... I cut you off when you were adding to that.
No, I wasn't adding to that. I think you covered it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Glad we could just establish that.
Yeah, you're gonna run out of water soon.
You just didn't want me to continue. Okay.
It was a thorough analysis of card economics. I don't know.
Yes.
And the dangers of pre-ordering.
Yes. How about this? Why don't you steer the ship here? I've said my thing. Let's talk about what we know and exploring what's been revealed thus far here. And why don't you guide us, Magellan, into the next phase?
I mean, well, we could. Now that we've thoroughly covered MSRP and the resulting market for cards, maybe we could talk about the cards themselves.
Sure.
So, on Twitter, they seem to be releasing a lot of information regarding the cards, the card types, what those cards are going to do. So far they've revealed the function of Emerald, Steel, and Amber as far as their main focus and abilities goes. So Emerald was the one that was most recently referenced on the Disney Lorcana Twitter, and Emerald Glimmers are among the most flexible and can adapt to overcome nearly any situation. So I think the interesting thing about Emerald, though, is that in the general theme of Disney movies and Disney things, green is the color of evil. So green is the color of a villain. So, and it looks like most of the villains are associated with green that I've seen so far. Lady Tremaine, otherwise known as the Wicked Stepmother, is the one that's featured on the Emerald, where they're talking about the Emerald Glimmers and their abilities. And I believe we've seen Maleficent featured as a green at one point, although I believe Tinkerbell was also a green or an emerald. So
maybe she's a bad guy.
Maybe she gets a little sassy sometimes.
She does.
That's why I love her. So we'll see. But I think it's an interesting point that we've seen a lot of villains featured as green or emerald. And then we see that Tigger has been revealed as looks like what's the red, ruby?
I think it's ruby. Yep.
Yeah. So Tigger has been revealed as a ruby character.
Love Tigger. T-I-double-G-R.
We saw the Tinkerbell little where she's all dressed up and looks super cute, like she's going to fight a war.
A tiny war.
A tiny war or a big war. She's feisty. You never know. Don't judge her by her size. Then we've also seen the steel glimmers rely on brute force to forge ahead. So I believe that was going against a little bit of what I thought, although steel is very strong, so it makes sense. But in my head, red is associated with power. For most other TCGs, I feel like. Magic specifically has a lot of the fast hitting brute force characters.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but we're seeing that's going to be the steel. The amber glimmers are going to be the healers, it appears. Or the protectors. They protect their friends at all costs. So when they say protect their friends at all costs, it makes me feel like they'll have some sort of ability to heal or shield other.
Okay.
The way that they phrased that. Protect their friends at all costs. So I believe they'll either be able to shield for other characters or glimmers. Or they'll be able to heal other glimmers. So that seems interesting.
It's funny. So you mentioned that, right? Amber is almost like a support type of color. Hades, King of Olympus.
Yes.
Is amber.
Yes.
So it's like a whole it's almost like a complete inverse of the character as you would think about it.
Yeah. And then we've seen a few more of the White Rabbit's pocket watch has come out as an item. And I assume by the purple smoke that they use that this would be an amethyst item. So.
Now, do you think that I've seen a few of these, right? White Rabbit's pocket watch. I believe there is a magic mirror.
Yes, I did see the magic mirror as well. And there was a healing glow, which is an action that came out, which is amber. So there it is. That makes sense.
The magic mirror is also amethyst, which makes me think that amethyst might be a little...
mystical?
Well, I was going to say universal. Right? The magic mirror and White Rabbit's pocket watch are both items. And there's nothing other than the item phrase behind it. So I don't know. I'm interested to see if there's any kind of resource restrictions or colored restrictions on what you're, how you're building your decks here. But it'd be interesting to see if they are in fact like universal. Like perhaps you can splash amethyst into whatever you want because it doesn't.
See, I'm hoping that amethyst is like a mystical, magic based color. That's mostly for me. Because it's purple and fair. I love mystical, magical things.
Okay.
But we've seen Magic Mirror. We've seen the White Rabbit's pocket watch, which comes from a very enchanted place. So I feel like I'm hoping there are a couple cards that I'm hoping to see as amethyst featured cards. I don't know if they will be in the first chapter. The first chapter seems to be the more standard Disney tales, classic Disney stories, or like popular, like Moana and Frozen aren't like classics, but they're, hits. I do wonder if we'll see any
modern classics.
They are modern classics. You're right. But in my head, classic is like old, like a classic car. So I we'll see what happens with that. But I would like to. There are a few. What cards do you want to see? What are you thinking?
I always go back to the characters that I really stick with over time. So I don't know if we've seen anything for Nightmare Before Christmas, but I think a Jack Skellington card would be right up my alley. I'm curious. It's probably green. It's probably in the emerald because Jack is, his heart is in the right place, but he really is a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, we could. Oh, yeah, he really is. But so we're seeing that Scar Mastermind is featured as a blue character. So blue is also an option that I could see for Jack Skellington. Yeah, that would be a good one.
So one other would be, and so I guess I'm still trying to absorb the like the mechanics and the characterizations of these and how that flavor gets expressed in the cards. So like Tigger is a great one. Tigger is like it looks like a mid-costed, kind of has a high combat damage output and toughness, and has evasive, which is
very boingy.
Yes, very boingy. Yeah. And that's a good way to express that. So I don't know what Jack Skellington's flavor would be in that sense, and I don't know where I would assign him in terms of that kind of the thematic ink.
See what I'm wondering now, like, and you sparked this a little bit with Jack Skellington, and I thought about it a little bit with the card that I would like to see as specifically an amethyst card, which is Madame Leota from Haunted Mansion. She's kind of like the matriarch of the Haunted Mansion. And I know that they have a Haunted Mansion movie coming out next year, so I'm going to go on record right now and say that I've loved the Haunted Mansion for forever. So when everybody jumps on the Haunted Mansion train, I was already there, but I'm excited for the merch that's going to come. Anyways, I'm wondering if, now that we know that Lorcana is going to be sold in the Disney parks, if there will be Disney park exclusives. So, like, Jack Skellington and Sally, they're two characters that only show up in the parks at the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So I'm wondering, and they're known to do a lot of exclusives for the parties. So I'm wondering if they'll have like exclusive, Lorcana booster decks.
Have you ever been
I have been to the Not So Scary Halloween Party. It's one of the best Disney parties I've ever been to.
Son of a bitch.
It's so good. It's worth it. It's so worth it to go to their extra parties, honestly. They do keep the park capacity down, and because it's an exclusive event.
Disney Halloween is always
the parade was like next level. The Headless Horseman was in the parade, which is a cool touch. But all your favorite Halloween villainy people are out for the Halloween party, and then that is where, and that's generally one of the only places that you can get all 7 dwarfs.
Ooh.
Is another character exclusive meet and greet, in addition to Jack and Sally, that you can get at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, generally speaking.
Listeners, this is why. She's a...
But if I were doing the marketing for Lorcana, like, that's what I would do. I would release them, or at least first exclusive release in park, only, so that you're drawing people into the parks. You're also giving a perk to,
God, I would have such FOMO. I already do. I already have FOMO for the Halloween
I
stuff.
do like that they seem to be recognizing the importance of local game shops in their release, where they're releasing it to them first. Yep. So if they are to carry forward with that, I don't know if they'll spin it and do park releases, exclusive releases, but I think that would be a real missed opportunity for exclusive packs themed with, whichever world you're in, because there's so many options for that.
I'll say where that's a slippery slope, and again, we kind of run into this sometimes in specifically Flesh and Blood, where there are hard to get mechanically unique cards. And Magic the Gathering with the secret layers are kind of in the same boat with the, like when they released the Walking Dead secret layer, they were the very first mechanically unique cards that were only exclusive to secret layers. And it turned out that they were competitively viable as well. So then you had...
So maybe variants?
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. So like a park exclusive like hollow foil, or something like that, I think would be, as long as they don't...
Or like a pre-release of a card that's coming to the standard set. So like say they're going to release, a Nightmare Before Christmas themed part to the, in chapter or whatever. They could release it in park first. Yeah.
And they could do, and there's a million different ways to do that.
Right.
But I think what we want to avoid is, a Jack Skellington, the card only available. Right. And
annihilates everyone in the format.
Yeah. And it just happens to be, it doesn't even have to be like overpowered. It just has to be good.
Right.
Because at the end of the day,
make certain mechanics click together.
This all ties to organized play. So if they, I don't see why they wouldn't. Oh my God. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. It just occurred to me.
Yeah.
Or Disneyland.
Yeah.
They'll
do one at
every Disney. We'll have to go to Shanghai.
Yeah. We're gonna have to go to Shanghai. Look, they have the Pro Tour circuit locations already. Go to France. From all the go to China.
Now I have to do card travel.
Yeah. But that would be on our terms.
Whatever.
Yeah,
in theory.
yeah.
I don't control the impulses, Patrick. The impulses control me. Let's be real.
The intrusive thoughts are there.
They are winning right now. I've already booked tickets to Shanghai for no reason. It's not even released.
We need help. Another character that really sticks with me is Kronk. Kronk?
Yeah, from Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah. But he's almost like, I picture him either an amber or a steel.
Back on the Nightmare Before Christmas, I think Oogie Boogie would make a good card too. You could get an item out of his dice.
Wrong lever. No. All right. We're gonna try it. We're gonna stop that.
Yeah, I think it was, you should have stopped before it started, but that's fine. Everything's fine.
So Kronk is definitely one.
Yeah.
I'm very I'm interested to know how far out they'll go. Like, is Kermit eligible here?
See, I don't know.
Is the action card Not Easy being green in our future? Oh
God, shut the fuck up. So I think what we've learned, or what I've been reading, is that in the first set, at least in the first chapter, we're just getting classic Disney. But I think after that, I don't know what this is where it gets into like legalities. So like, what's the contract?
Right.
What is the contract with
how far
all these various entities? How much does Disney own of it, and how much access of that is given to Ravensburger?
Wolverine.
So so like, where's the line there? I mean, and I think that maybe to be a long-standing TCG, like, access to those characters is important down the line. But I think they do have a lot of ground to cover in the classic Disney like bubble, that I maybe in a year or two we'll start seeing, Marvel, we'll start seeing Star Wars, we'll start seeing, and maybe I'll be wrong and they'll do it sooner than that. Maybe it'll coincide with releases of TV shows and seasons. And
I think there's, Do you think they'd go into like, where does Mary Poppins kind of?
Well, Mary Poppins is a classic Disney character, so I mean, yes, I would.
Well, I guess I'm
But
thinking Dick Van
wondering,
Dyke,
are we going
like,
into live action?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that where
What's the dragon?
Figment.
No, older, like.
Pete's dragon.
Yeah.
See, the Pete's dragon, like Bedknobs and Broomsticks type of.
Yeah.
Love bug.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe. Well, I mean, they do some of that theming on.
Are we gonna get Lindsay Lohan in a racetrack suit?
Maybe. I went to Parent Trap too, because Parent Trap is also in that wheelhouse. So we're gonna get peanut butter Oreo item. Let's do it. And so, but I don't know. We'll see. There is theming for that, like Herbie Love Bug.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name
at one of the Disney hotels. So they do incorporate those things, but it depends how far Ravensburger wants to take that too, since they're the developer of the game. They want to, what mechanics they can use. I think that we would probably be more likely to see Lightning McQueen before we see Herbie Love Bug, but
yeah, for sure.
That kind of stuff. I do want to know, like, when we would do like in-park characters too. So like Figment. Figment is a classic Epcot character, but like when you think about Disney, you think about Figment because he's so classically Epcot. So
there's also like, there really is, I know we're talking about expanding into other other types of properties under the Disney umbrella, but there really is a lot of untapped potential just within the class. We haven't seen Ariel, as far as I know, and then there's a whole Sebastian, the fish.
We haven't seen any.
What's the fish's name?
I hate you right now.
It's been so long.
I think you have to move out. I think it's over now. Give me the Flounder.
Thank you.
You
all right.
jackass.
I didn't want to assume that it was Flounder.
I didn't want to assume the correct name was the correct name. I knew
King Trident.
King, yes.
Triton. Whatever.
Who carries a trident.
Yep, he does. Ursula, the clear bad guy.
Yes.
Kind of in there. The other people in the family. Prince Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prince Eric. I would love to see Flotsam and Jetsam. Jetson? That one I don't know.
Move out. Get out.
No, because they're obscure and you don't even know who they are. I had to explain that they're the eels.
Yeah, the eels. Absolutely. Yeah. I love the eels. A little underbite. Yeah.
Can you name all of Ariel's sisters?
Absolutely not.
All right, cool.
So we have seen, right? So we've seen Robin Hood. So we know that the potential, we can get Little John, Friar Tuck. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn it. We know.
I'm sorry.
So we know Peter Pan in that world is going to be in there.
Yes.
Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
The shark guy.
Yeah.
Is there. Maleficent. Is Sleeping Beauty? No.
Yes, we've seen Princess Aurora.
Right. But Maleficent is tied to Sleeping Beauty?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Right. Oh my god.
I'm trying real hard here. The card mechanics. We can get 101 Dalmatians, and obviously Mickey the proud mighty tailor.
I wonder if we'll see more Mickey too, like Steamboat Willie and.
Just gonna get all the really old, antiquated, racially charged.
I don't think Steamboat Willie was racially charged. We're not trying to do anything in Song of the South.
I would love to see the crazy Mickey cartoons that I love.
Oh my god, you love those!
Like that variant.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, creepy Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah. So
Mickey.
Good. So good. There was an episode where Mickey...
I know. We've talked about it. I know. It scarred you for life. I'm actually half convinced it doesn't really exist and it was a fever dream. But anyways.
Man.
All right.
So Frozen is there. Frozen's kind of like a modern classic here. So like how modern do you think that they'll go? Is like Cars the next in line after that? You said Lightning McQueen, but like I guess what else is...
Are you implying that Cars is... Okay. There's so many things wrong with what you just said. First of all, Cars is Pixar, so we don't know that it's going to be included. Two.
So probably won't get Toy Story?
Correct.
Oh, man. Okay.
No Monsters, Inc. No Nemo. Monsters,
Inc. That's staple stuff.
I know. But I think that they've said that they're not doing that. It's going to focus on more traditional characters.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so you're eliminating the entire Pixar collection, basically. Not to say that you won't see that in Chapter 2. I assume Pixar will come at some point quickly because the Pixar movies are so popular. And are associated so classically with Disney. So I think that would probably come right after that. I wonder if you'll see like an Indiana Jones, though, at some point. That's another live action that they have dedication to in the parks. They have a ride at Disneyland, I believe, for Indiana Jones.
All right. Well, let's help me out here, okay? A Moana.
Yes, there is a Moana, and we did see Elsa already. So we don't know. We haven't seen any Encanto references.
Wreck-It Ralph?
Wreck-It Ralph. Vanellope would be a good card.
The Goofy movie. Can I get the family and...
Yeah.
Powerline. Yes, it's Powerline.
Yeah.
Like Powerline, the Lorcana card? That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
That would be so sweet. Yeah, there's definitely ones like Roger Rabbit. We get.
I do believe there is some debate about the rights of Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit used to be featured in Disney. I remember when they had a partnership with MGM when Hollywood Studios was MGM Studios. Roger Rabbit was a feature. So were the Ninja Turtles. So there were like some Power Rangers, I believe, were also featured.
Okay.
At MGM Studios. So I wonder if that was. I remember hearing of a debating of rights over Roger Rabbit. So I wonder if that was one of the things that like either they co-owned with MGM or you know what I mean. Someone else had some rights to Roger Rabbit. But I could have just made that whole thing up. So I don't know. Don't believe everything you hear on a podcast, guys.
Brave Little Toaster.
Ooh, Brave Little Toaster
All
is
the
such a
items?
good one.
Oh, man,
that's such a good one.
So good.
But like I think what we're demonstrating here is that there's room for
there's
expansion.
Yeah, there's plenty of room.
Beyond. I don't think we'll see any of the characters we've mentioned in the first chapter. I think that we're likely to see maybe like Snow White. We're likely to see Tangled. We're likely to see.
Yeah, you want to see like
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast.
Iconic Disney
we have already seen that
princesses,
the wardrobe has been incorporated. Was one of them. So I think that we're definitely going to see those classic Disney tales that probably cover the span of all the princesses. Hopefully we will see some Tiana in there as well. I like me some Tiana, so hopefully they'll incorporate that in there as well. I assume so since Frozen and Moana are included, that Tiana will also be, Princess and the Frog will also be included. But that movie has some really great villains.
What's the Day of the Dead movie?
Coco. I was just thinking of that, Coco. But I believe it's Pixar.
Okay. All right. God, man, the end of that movie hits you like a ton of bricks.
I have not seen it, and I can't do it.
Oh, God.
I can't do it. I'm not ready to cry like that. I also avoid Up.
Oh, I can't.
But Up's like the beginning, so it's like it really gets you there, and you're done. Just keeps getting worse.
Coco,
too.
like
you're just like, oh no, what? No.
He's a sad old man.
Yeah,
those two make me cry.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. So I'm hoping that it's right after our anniversary.
It's
releasing, so maybe we can do a little anniversary gifts to each other and then play.
Yeah. I did say on both of the podcasts that I was guesting on, I'm looking forward to, like, content wise, I think it's gonna be fun to like play
Mm-hmm.
like here. We're at, they can't see, but we're at our dining room table doing that. And I'm looking forward to having a little setup and just playing the game with you and recording it.
Yeah.
And hopefully
because we're very entertaining when we play cards together, as long as you don't make me cry.
Well,
and even then it might be entertaining.
We'll be
on
equal footing here.
If you like that kind of thing.
And our daughter is also
Disney
very interested in that, and I'm looking forward to perhaps I'm looking forward to, as a family, having an opportunity to actually play some TCGs and have some fun with
except the Tasmanian Devil up there. He can't get
not yet.
He gets proxies.
Yeah, he gets proxies. He has to play with a plastic deck right now, but not a hard plastic deck because it's gonna hurt.
It'll be fine. I have a laminating machine. So
one of these days, the numbers are gonna click, and he's gonna be it's gonna be crazy.
I know. Hopefully, he'll teach me how to do it. So.
Oh man. Yeah,
the numbers have just never clicked.
There's combat math here, so
I know,
you're gonna have to make the crisscross.
I can't.
You're gonna have to do. You're gonna plus the minuses.
Plus the
here.
Minus. I can't do it. It doesn't happen for me.
Does
anyone out there have a way to break down combat math for a neurodivergent woman who has no idea how to do combat math?
One of the reasons that,
if you just tell me one more time, the top number and the bottom number and the flip. No, it doesn't math.
It doesn't.
The math ain't mathin'.
No, it's not. We like to play Magic with one another, but when it came time to actually start attacking with creatures, it got really complicated because the attack and the defense just didn't translate to
They never will.
But
at this point, I think he's been lying to me about gameplay the whole time.
Just to take advantage. So there is combat math. There's a lot of other things. We've had a few keywords being revealed.
Yes.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the keywords.
We could do that.
Yeah, let's talk about Rush. So Rush is, I think it's something. So I think the fact that Rush is there speaks to what the cards can do and the nature of how they're played. So in Magic there is Summoning Sickness, and in other card games there's similar. You cannot do a thing the turn that it comes out. You have to wait until your next turn cycle come through, unless there is some ability, like in this case Rush, where Rush says characters with Rush can challenge the same turn that they are played, and challenges. I guess what we're calling combat here.
Yes.
So Magic has haste. Hearthstone also has a rush effect, but it does mean that there's limitations on what your character can do, or your card can do the first time it comes out, and there are ways to work around that.
Yes.
Which, generally this is like an archetype in most TCGs, right? The rush deck, right? The fast deck, the deck that's very aggressive. This is where you mentioned like red cards associated with like speed and things. This is Rush is usually associated.
I do think that leads into Exert. So Exert looks like it's going to be.
Exert. It looks like it's pretty close to Magic's tapping. Ability.
Yes, and then evasive is similar to flying.
Yes.
In Magic the Gathering, where only other characters with evasive can challenge that character, same as only characters with flying or reach.
Ooh. Well, yes, flying or reach, yes, can attack flying creatures.
Maybe there'll be a lesser version called like sneaky,
There's evasive, and then there's kind of quiet. It's just,
and then there's suspicious.
yeah. It's suspicious. It's just
No,
not evasive.
Suspicious. Just a little suspicious.
Just a little suspicious. Yeah.
Kind of quick.
Yeah. So Tigger is evasive. We talked about
Yes.
that. So that's kind of, it looks
Ooh,
like
I wonder what other types of characters. So you can see why Tigger would be evasive because he's so boingy. Yes, we've said this before. So
who would be evasive?
who would be evasive? Let's see.
Would something like a Simba or a Timon from Lion King be evasive?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they're evasive enough. They're not very boingy, you know?
Okay, all right.
Maybe.
Are there
maybe like the
monkeys?
Cheshire Cat?
Cheshire Cat is not mystical?
He is mystical, but could
mystical
also
and evasive.
Yes.
Evasive doesn't necessarily mean boingy. Could be
right.
You know,
but he disappears.
Yeah.
He's he is evasive. So I'm trying to think of
Oogie Boogie Man.
Yeah, the Oogie Boogie. He could also be evasive. Because he hides in the shadows.
Yeah. Would be.
I wonder if Pascal would be considered evasive.
Okay.
Because he's a chameleon.
Sure. The world's our oyster.
It really is. It's so good. They're rewriting cards right now because
they're
of
like,
our podcast.
oh my god, this is amazing. Okay. I like this. Let's let's double back real quick to Rush. Okay, so Rush.
You're gonna love Rush. I know already.
What characters do you think? I honestly don't think that there is much for Rush cards.
I feel like I saw one with Rush, and now it's gonna bother me. So the White Rabbit's
does it give you
White
Rush?
Rabbit's pocket gives a chosen character Rush. So that may be where because I was just reading that one. So that's time related. And that shows us that Alice in Wonderland is also going to be featured. I mean, probably the White Rabbit.
Right, he's always late.
He's always late. He's always in a rush. So I would assume the White Rabbit would have a rush.
Scar's not. But I picture the like
Mufasa also isn't.
Mufasa got banished.
Maybe a wildebeest.
I was gonna say the hyenas
stampede
could possibly be
just
Rush.
Saying, Rush.
Yeah, the wildebeest stampede. Oh man. Dad's dead is an action card.
Dead Dad.
Man. Wake up, Dad.
Oh wow, it's getting so sad.
Oh no.
I think who else?
This is terrible. Well, we said Lightning McQueen's probably not.
Yeah, because that's Pixar, so probably not in here. But
I think I could see that the Power Line
card
that I suggested probably has that.
Maybe Cinderella.
Yeah, right. Well, you can have Cinderella variants too, right?
Yeah,
like you could have
Midnight Cinderella,
right? Cinderella at the midnight hour, something fun like that. Ward, a character with ward can't be chosen by your opponent, such as when using a character's ability or using an action card. So that speaks to it's like hexproof to me. So you still have combat abilities there, and I'm still interested to know what challenge is specifically. If you can. If you can pick the creature to challenge, or if your opponent chooses for themselves, that's important. So Aladdin has ward, so cannot be chosen, and the implication is that there are action cards,
right, that your
and
opponent
abilities that will target your opponent. So reducing health, reducing damage, and I think even like Scar's ability reduces. I believe your opponent's creature's damage output, if I recall. And that is something like Sally. We talked about Jack.
Yes.
Sally. Ward on that kind of thing. Let's see. Shift's interesting. Shift speaks to me like another type of deck archetype. By paying an alternate cost, you can play characters on top of each other. So I'm sure it's a general mechanic as well, but I'm sure there's only going to be there's likely a few targeted heroes in this first chapter.
Yes.
So Hades.
Yes, I was going to say Hades,
Lord of Olympus
believe,
is a shifted character, but it's kind of it's evolutions.
Yeah.
But you can see specifically with the Hades that they've kind of subverted expectations. You don't get like a greater Hades from the underworld.
Right.
You have so you can go pretty crazy with the evolution on top.
Yeah.
Of them. But you can anytime you can pay an alternate cost and make a thing happen.
Yeah.
If you can make that right, if you can find the synergies and the values over time with that,
yes.
you can create some pretty powerful effects.
My favorite deck of all time, my Tuvasa deck.
Yeah, your Tuvasa deck. Yes, yeah, reducing costs.
Yeah,
and I make you cry. You kick my ass.
I did so many times with that deck. It was such a good deck.
So many times. Just we call you kind of front runner. Okay, you only like it when you're winning.
Yes.
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Don't ever call me that again.
Don't like the head kick.
Whatever.
And you'll walk away.
Whatever.
Evasive is also. We talked about evasive.
Yeah.
And then it looks like Challenger, an ability that modifies a character's stat whenever it challenges or is challenged. So it's like the fighting. Stuff, right? There's always going to be a. I like that there's a combat-oriented thing. It looks like there's it looks like there's a good variety here of things that you might be able to do. Item and action-based decks. They talk about Dragonfire. It looks like a kind of a kill card, banish, chosen character. So we don't know.
We just don't know if they're going to be able to if they'll have different things where if they're instants or if they're sorceries. So do they or do they not have... I don't know, summoning sickness, I guess, or...
Well, I think it speaks towards...
what part of the game you can play it during.
And that's something that they haven't revealed, and I think comes with how you play the game, is how priority... There is... All right, so let's talk... Let's close it.
Yeah.
Close it up here. So, we still don't know... My big question mark is how you play the game, and how the rules are stated. Yeah, because that can really speak towards it. Just speaks towards who will play the game, who will take it seriously. Yeah, but so the excitement's still there. I think we'll probably once this episode comes up, probably wait a little bit longer, see what's coming out, and then as more information becomes available more frequently, we'll start sitting down a little more than we are. You are watching / listening to You Made Me Inc., a Disney Lorcana podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Off the Rails TCG. We are audio streaming on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, and just about everywhere else you listen to your podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Off the Rails TCG. You can find myself at Pat Smatchgood. And where can we find you? At Wifey Shaw 8815. And that will do it for episode 2 of Yummy. We're gonna wrap it up. She's just walking away. Now she's like, okay, we're done here. And that's a wrap.